So, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Sorry, I can't think of anything on how I would be able to start the video because this is my first vlog, and it's been a while since I made my last video. Previously, I created a YouTube channel, similar concept, but I failed to maintain it, and I wanted to begin again. But this time, a much different um, name and branding. But I wanted to start fresh again, and I think that with that in mind, I'm currently working on something that I think would help me to improve my trading. To give context, I've been trading for years now, and it's been a struggle for me to understand how I could become a consistently profitable trader. But last year, I was able to pass this evaluation on a funding account where I was able to pass the evaluation phase and was able to earn the live account. But the problem is, or the thing is, I failed to maintain that account and end up losing that account on the process. There's a lot of mistakes, and the mistakes, then the lessons from those mistakes are not easy to learn. It's very tough, and because of that, I was stuck, and I stopped for quite some time. I stopped trading for quite some time, and right now I'm rebuilding it again. I'm rebuilding the process that I lost, the strategy that I failed to improve or innovate, and currently I am developing it and starting from the basics. So what I've been changing, or what I would be changing this time, is I am recreating the strategy that I used before by improving the win ratio. Because before that, I am a smart money concept trader. I trade pure price action. I don't use any indicators, but I find it quite helpful if I use indicators for me to understand the sentiment. So the main objective here, the main goal here in what I am currently doing is backtesting or data gathering on a concept that I think of is trying to improve win ratio by understanding the sentiment or the market direction. So I'm not aiming for a higher win rate immediately. What I'm trying to aim is to be able to predict or to understand, to analyze the market sentiment more accurately than before. Because before, as I said earlier, I'm a pure price action trader. I don't use Ichimoku or any indicators. I just use naked price. And it was a struggle for me to understand the market direction or the market sentiment because it's very subjective. So okay, I'm not trying to say that using indicators is good and not using indicator makes you a bad trader. That I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to point here is based on my own personal experience. It was subjective for me to understand the market direction through price action alone. So I needed a tool for me to use to be more systematic and process based or rule based in terms of identifying the market sentiment or market direction. And I find it, or I had this idea of using Ichimoku to identify that market direction. And currently, as I go and backtest it, it's quite good, and the results are quite pleasing. But the data I have are not enough, and I need to gather more to understand the strategy or how I could incorporate this with smart money concepts so that I would be able to increase my win ratio. And although that's not the only reason, or that's not the only reason why my win ratio is very low previously on my previous approach, it could be because I have a very tight stop loss with my smart money concepts trades, and that causes me more losses. So the precision on where I enter the trade, I have a problem. I didn't have a problem on that, because if you will observe my previous trades, the way I identify a zone, the way I locate a zone, the way where I place my trade, how I place my stop loss, my entries and target points, those are rule based, and I follow it every trade. But the thing is, the sentiment is wrong, or I entered too early, I entered too late, or maybe, or at times I entered in a wrong or against the market direction, and that causes the loss. And in order for me to level up my, or to elevate my current strategy, I need to identify the sentiment more. So by identifying the sentiment or increasing my understanding on where the market would go, it will help me to narrow down the problem. Now, if I solve this problem and be more accurate at identifying where the market would go on the next few, or the next candles, then finding where I enter the trade will be much easier. Knowing when to optimize the trade, when to take sell, or when to take a buy would be much easier when you are with the trend, right? And that makes sense. So that's the objective what I am currently doing. I'm trying to practice the strategy, or it's not a strategy yet. It's just a concept on how I would identify the market sentiment. So currently I have 71 data, and it's not yet enough. Ideally, the minimum data that I would require for me to achieve is 100 data or data sets, so that I could use that to understand and strategize. Currently, the statistics shows a 73% accuracy on identifying the market trend, and the results are magnificent. But the thing is it realistic enough? So I won't be believing this data just yet. I need more. I need to see more. So, and let's try to gather more data. So the process that I'm doing is I'm trying to identify or to locate the current price action, which is on Wednesday, December 20, 2020. And with the current data or the current price action, with the help of Ichimoku, I'm trying to identify which market direction it would go. So at this market, or at this current point of time in price action, I would identify this as potential bullish to the up, move to the upside. So a bullish move to the upside because of the components of the Ichimoku. So for example, the Chico span is suggesting a momentum move. It's far away from price, a healthy Chico span. The Tenkan Sen and the Kijun Sen are well as well, pointing towards to the upside. And although the Kumu cloud is thin, but both the Senko span A and Senko span B are pointing to the upside. So overall, my bias or my sentiment would be bullish, and I just input it here, and then on the Excel as well. And let's see what will happen. Oh, also I tried to put money on it, but the parameters on my entries are not yet in place. So my basis on entry is that when it's bullish, I will take the trade to the long side, and when it's bearish, I will take the short side. No any other entry basis. So let's see what will happen, and then analyze the data. So again, I'm not aiming for a higher win ratio on a trade here. What I'm trying to aim is to understand how effective is Ichimoku as a tool for me to use as a directional bias indicator. So at this current price action, I would sell it here. Why? Because for me, this is an indication of possible deeper correction. We could see here the Chico span closed with price. The Tenkan, although the Tenkan Sen and the Kijun Sen are still healthy and moving to the it still suggests that price is still bullish. So does the future Kumu cloud and the Kumu cloud. But the thing here is that if you will observe the Senko span B, it's already flat. The future Kumu cloud Senko span B is already flat, and for me that could sign a possible correction. At the same time, the price were able to close below the Kijun Sen. So there are two scenarios that could happen. Price would either move to the downside as per deeper correction only and then move to the upside again, or price could possibly range here and then reverse, or price could possibly range again and then continue to its upside. Actually, it's not two, it's three scenarios. So, sorry. So the next thing is I'm just gonna input some notes. For example, at this part, I would say price has potential. Deeper correction. Range and reverse. Yeah. So I would suggest when we pick the trade here, is the bias correct? Yes. Price did move to the upside, but the thing is, price is quite slow or corrective in a way how it went to the upside, but it did move to the upside for a short period of time. So I would put it that way, and then possibly put a note here. Price did move yeah. Let's just copy that and then paste it on our comment on this data log. Wait. So let's see what will happen next if price would range. So basically, this is the process that I created for this backtest session. So my backtest session won't always be the same. The process on how I gather it won't always be the same, because I have different objectives. For example, on my objective on understanding Ichimoku as a tool for a sentiment indicator, my general objective here is to identify market direction with ideally higher than 50% accuracy, being able to identify market direction with clarity and less subjectivity. So currently, the data that I have is 73%, which is quite well above 50%. So why 50% now? Why am I aiming for higher than 50% in terms of predicting the market sentiment? So the reason is because if I have a lower than 50% capability of understanding where the market would go, then there will be a problem in the future. I may be identifying the entries right, but the direction is wrong, so it won't work. The sub objective that I have are create a research on how I will answer the following: how to identify bias with Ichimoku. Is there an approach I can identify market direction? How often? What numbers has to say with this aspect? Is the approach higher than 50% accuracy, which is yes. Currently on 71 data, we're not yet sure. We'll see after the data gathering procedure. Is it rule based and consistent? How can you prove it? Now that's going to be quite harder and has a relation with the first objective, and so on. So the goal is to gather 100 charts by the end of April, and then gather data, well-documented stats that showcase accuracy of indicator and practice consistency and backtendency. So if you would observe, we're not just practicing, or we're not just building a strategy here, but we are also building a habit. So let's go back and observe what will happen next. So our bias, or our next bias or direction sentiment. What? No. Our next sentiment would be a range market or a deeper correction in price. Let's see what price would do on that aspect. 472 potential range. So okay, let's see what will happen. Would price range? And yes, it did. So you can see, for me, this is a sideways market, or this is a ranging market. For other people, for other traders, this is already a change of character or reversal in market direction. Some would say this is still an uptrend with price currently on a corrective phase. And all of those predictions or sentiment are correct. All of those scenarios are correct. And I'm not discrediting it, because I used to be a price action trader as well, and until today I am a price action trader. And the thing is, the problem that I had with navigating with price alone is that it's so much subjective, and it gives me a hard time on understanding what the market really is trying to tell. Because if you try to observe it or to analyze it, you would say, okay, this one is a high, this one is your high, and this one is your low, and this one is your higher high, and price is currently on the phase of where it's making a new higher low potentially. Until this certain low is broken, we are still bullish to the upside. But if you observe on the macro or on the mid time frame, this one is already bearish on the lower time frame, showcasing a break of market structure here. You could identify this a small trend, right, or a channel or whatsoever, but you could identify this a break of market structure, and a break of market structure on the lower time frame, and this one has a change of character, and all of those are correct. But how do you really identify it? Are you just identifying it based on currently, or what you currently see, or are you just basing on what you know? Because sometimes what we know could be wrong. So it's important for us to be less subjective, right, and be more consistent on how we identify the market sentiment. And through that, by creating a rule base, for example, with the use of Ichimoku, I would be capable of understanding the direction. So I hope you get the point here of what I am trying to point on this video. Again, I'm not trying to teach here. No, I'm not trying to show you a strategy or whatsoever. I'm not selling a course. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to document the process, my process of improving, and it's a constant quest. It never ends. So let's see what will happen next. Price did move in sideways, and for me this is a ranging market already, or a neutral market. Why? Because the Ichimoku is trying to suggest so. For example, a flat Chico's Kijun Sen, a flat Kijun Sen and a flat Kumo cloud, future Kumo cloud, suggests that price is currently on a consolidation. So does the Chico span. Ganun lang simple. That's how simple I would understand the market sentiment. So I hope you were getting a value from this video, and maybe you could use it on your own in trading. The understanding of market sentiment, the importance of market sentiment. Again, I'm not trying to teach here. I'm just trying to share something that I learned from someone, that maybe if I would share it to other people, they the problems of other people in terms of understanding their own trading strategy would be solved as well. And that's what I'm trying to create on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to create a community where people will not be afraid to share their knowledge or their ideas on how they understood the market, because sometimes the weird ideas would give us those better solutions. Always be unique on how you solve the market or how you solve the problems you encounter in your trading journey. Be creative and use imagination, and that's what I'm trying to implement here. Again, I want to emphasize that I am not trying to teach. I'm not trying to sell you a course. I'm just documenting the process for fun, because someday when I become successful, so successful on what I do, when I become so successful in what I do, I want to be able to go back and see for myself on where I've came from. And again, I'm sorry if this is not what you expect it to be. This channel won't be that kind of channel who would tell you what to do. More of, I would be your trading buddy and someone you could listen into and realize that this guy is experiencing the same thing that I have been experiencing. That's what I'm trying to create. And I want to apologize for the way I speak English, because I'm not really good at speaking English. I'm not fluent enough, and I'm not good at speaking it well because of my grammar. I might be encountering a lot of grammatical errors, and I'm really sorry for those who are disturbed by it. But I'm trying my best to speak well in English. Mas komportable kasi ako sa Tagalog, pero I am trying my best. Ayan. So that's it for the today's video, vlog, whatever you call it. And this is the first video I've been making for this year. I hope to be consistent at uploading more videos, and I hope this community will grow as well. Thank you.